I'm going to dip because I just wanted to come and have giggles, and I think it might get a little bit heated. I'm going down to the comments.
Okay.
All right.
Love you, not you, doses. Bye.
Bye.
Do you want to talk to LB?
Who, me?
Yeah, she wants up.
I don't care.
Hey, so I think your explanation of it didn't really explain anything.
So why don't you tell us what it means to you?
Cool. So I only get called a TERF when I'm speaking up for the rights and safety of women and girls, and when I'm speaking up for the protection of children so that they can grow up and become adults and then make decisions that they can understand what decision they're even making, right? So they can actually give informed consent. So me being against children being medically transitioned and me being for women's rights and safety somehow means that I'm a TERF. And I'm like, okay, well, that's not an insult then. I don't see it as an insult. If you're against women's rights and you're against the safety of children, then what does that make you?
So you do understand that that doesn't happen. Children are not having sex changes.
But they are.
It's not legal. They're not. Not in Canada, they're not.
Yes, they are.
Right?
They are.
No,
though.
they're not.
I've literally proven that. Many times. For years, I've proven that over and over and over again. You guys can't prove me wrong.
It's not happening, LB. I can. I've talked about it.
Just because you say it's not happening doesn't mean it's not happening. If I've shown medical proof and studies that it's happening.
And you know, trans is a bigger umbrella. It's just not sex changes and stuff like that, right?
Trans
you
turned
understand
into something else.
It's an umbrella.
But it's not.
It's an umbrella.
So what does trans mean then?
Well, a lot of things are under that umbrella, right?
Can you explain to me what the definition of trans is, please? I want to make sure we have the same understanding of what this is so we can continue the conversation.
This is too heavy of a conversation for a Sunday morning.
I didn't bring this up. I just want to make that known.
I know. I get that.
But I am going to respond and I'm going to defend my position because I'm getting a lot of hateful shit said to me and I'm not saying anything hateful in return. I don't understand how it becomes hateful when you stand up for the rights of women. I mean, Doses, you and I are on the same page with a lot of this stuff, so technically you're a TERF too. By that
no, because I'm not. No, I'm not. We're definitely not.
So you are okay with men competing in women's sports? You're okay with children being medicalized for the purpose of transitioning, and you're okay with women not having their safe spaces?
I don't know. You'd have to elaborate on what that means.
So that's like a very broad rooms, when you're getting
statement.
Undressed, when you're vulnerable, when you have your pants down, when you are exposed in some way in that space, you don't want to have the opposite sex in there. Because, right, sex and gender are different according to this ideology. Gender is a social construct, and that's what they're basing a lot of this on. Sex is biological. That doesn't change, no matter what you identify with. So sex-based safe spaces for women, like locker rooms, showers, change rooms, bathrooms, things of that nature. Do you think that should be for females? So they can stay safe in their vulnerable positions that they may be in that way?
I think, well, I don't know. It's not an easy answer for me. Do I think that trans women should be allowed in women's spaces? Yes. But do I think that there are...
Can you tell me?
What do you mean, what are trans women?
I know what they are, but I want to know if you know what trans women are.
What do you mean? Like, what is a trans woman by definition?
Yes.
Is that what you're asking me?
Yes.
Well, I don't know the medical definition. It's not as deep of the topic to me, but I believe that
what makes a trans woman a trans woman?
People who are born with male genitalia that are transitioning to be women. That's really my understanding of it. People who are identify as women.
And what is a woman? I'm not doing this to be disingenuous.
Oh my God,
no, I'm genuinely asking because you're saying to be
you
a
know
woman.
that
you need to understand what the definitions of these words are.
Yes.
So if
you know that I feel that trans women are trans women and women are women. You know that I feel like that.
I agree with you on that. And I'm called a hateful TERF and a bigot for that. Why are you not called those things? Because it's the way that you fucking put. Because I'm not hateful. I don't hate these people. What am I saying? I don't
You come off like you fucking hate people.
I don't hate these people
because they're different.
I don't hate them.
Well, it's the vibe that you give.
Can you
like
a vibe?
I'm more for living. Yeah, it's
a feeling.
Look at your fucking
so it's
videos,
a feeling
LB.
that you have.
Look at your
my
videos,
message.
LB. It's the words that come out of your mouth.
Can you
it's
quote
the things
something
that you
that
say.
bothered you that I said that maybe I could have maybe said it a different way? Because you seem to know a lot of things about what I've said.
That one with the plagues.
The plagues?
Right? And you said, I don't want any part of it. Well, you are a part of it, aren't you?
Oh, the flags?
Or don't you say you're bisexual?
That was hateful.
Okay,
that was fucking hateful.
That was hateful. That's a hateful rhetoric.
I think what's hateful is what is being accepted and normalized under the guise of that specific flag. I have no problem with the rainbow flag as it was. It represented everybody under the umbrella. I don't know why we needed to change it to make it a race-based thing.
But it didn't.
How didn't it?
But it didn't.
How didn't it?
Because it didn't include the Two-Spirit, which is very important.
But
right?
isn't Two-Spirit...
Do you understand what Two-Spirit is?
Yes, I understand what it is. I've talked to a lot of my Indigenous friends, and they all say the same thing. Two-Spirit is when you possess the characteristics of male and female, and you have a good balance of both of those characteristics. That doesn't have anything to do with your sexuality. That has to do with character. Sexual orientation is what that rainbow represents. Which technically the rainbow is.
Yeah, but why would
God's
you?
promise.
Yeah, but why did you feel the need to make it into a hate symbol?
I did not make it into that symbol. I did not discover that. I did not come up with that.
You made the video.
I made the video.
You made the video.
Yep, I sure
LB,
did.
you reposted it.
So
you're
why are you?
You're putting it back out into the ether.
What about
why?
my video is upsetting you? It's almost like you're more upset that I showed that happens when you put that together like that than
Okay,
that
but you
actually
can. That's
being.
not. That,
But do you understand?
Yeah, but that's not.
Do you understand that when you put something together like that and you start comparing? Okay, what's similar between these things? Eugenics is definitely a huge thing on the table because that is happening. And if it's not happening, then why are people up in arms when there's bills put in place to ensure that children are not being medicalized?
I think that you lose your argument, LB. I think she loses the argument when she does things like that. That's when people roll their eyes. When you put together a flag to make it look like a swastika, you lose the argument. I'm fine if you want to discuss.
Have you
what
looked
you want,
into
what you
why
feel?
I did that? Have you, or have you just looked at it and let your feelings get the best of you, and then you just ran with whatever?
I just think it's just not the way that you're gonna have your voice heard by people who are in opposition to you.
Well, that's interesting because if I wasn't having my voice heard, then why do I have 15,000 people following my Instagram and 16,500 people subscribed to my YouTube?
Because there's a lot of bigoted people out in the world.
Then do what you want.
Do you know what the word bigot means?
There's a lot of.
Can you define it for me, please?
I will say this. There's a lot of hateful people out in the world.
Yes.
Right? So
And
that
I've
video,
gotten a lot of hate
if
for
you
standing
really
up for women's rights and for the protection of children.
Okay. So let me say
I've been told
something.
to kill
Let me
myself
say
because of
something.
it.
Let me say something.
And your friends
okay?
say I'm not bi because of it.
Let me say something, please. If you really truly wanted to have honest conversations about things within this topic, posting videos like that is not helpful, LB.
That's what I'm trying to say. I'm not trying to argue with you. I'm just saying you're wanting a reason, you're wondering why do people perceive me as hateful? What's the issue, everyone? That is an example of
That's
that.
the issue.
And I'm trying to explain.
People don't want to have a conversation with you when you put something out like that.
I'm trying to explain to you why it's not hateful and why I have come up with it. I haven't quite been able to get there yet. I keep getting cut off.
Who are you to say to the trans community that was not hateful?
How is that?
If somebody
flag,
from that
is that
community
flag the trans
is
flag?
telling you,
I'm sorry, I'm confused.
If
is that
somebody,
the trans flag?
or within any of the LGBTQ plus community,
I'm in the community.
Whatever. If somebody comes to you and says that's hateful rhetoric, would you actually listen to them or would you argue with them?
Well, then
would
I
you
ask,
take
what about
pause
it is
and
hateful?
listen?
I ask, what about it is hateful? And then they can't tell me. And that's where I'm like,
So
okay,
just
I'm
told
still
you.
not.
We
it's
just
not-
told you.
So what
just
about
gave
it
you
was
an
hate?
example.
But,
And
okay,
being
but
in the
have you been able to let me explain
It's a hate
exactly
symbol.
why I am okay with posting that? Or do you guys just want to continue to cut me off and then tell me how to think? I'm not
Okay,
Matt
hold on.
Zen, so I'm not
Let me
going to let you do
finish.
that.
Let me finish my sentence, then you go.
Okay,
What
sure.
before you explain, what you're like, the perception, your intent may not, you may be trying to inform people of things that you've discovered, but it's very provocative. It is known globally as a hate symbol. And when you post things like that, people immediately get their backup. And you may not perceive it as hateful, but people in that community do. And just because you're in it doesn't give you carte blanche to do things like that. You're going to get backlash. If you're comfortable with that, by all means. But anyways, go on.
Okay. And I can understand where you're coming from, and I respect your perspective. I don't agree with it, but I can understand where you're coming from. So that video and that thing, obviously it's to raise, it's like, whoa, I can't believe she's fucking doing this, you know? And why is she doing this? But it's also, if you look at the two ideologies, right? I'm not saying people in the LGBT community are Nazis. Am I saying that an ideology that is being pushed on my community has similarities with that? Yes. Think about it. Controlling speech. What happens when somebody doesn't say they, them, or doesn't use the pronouns that they are being basically demanded to use? What happens if they don't? Do they get shamed? Do they get hated on? Do they get sometimes stalked and followed and all that stuff? Yes, they do. Why? Because they're not speaking the way that the people behind that ideology wants them to speak. So now they're going to shame them into speaking that way. That's not going to give them that's not going to give them support. That's going to push people away. On top of that, under that flag, eugenics is taking place. I have shown many times on lives. I've posted it plenty of times. It's on my YouTube. You can watch. You can look it up yourself. Marcy Bowers, the president of WPATH, which is the World Professional Association for Transgender Health. The WPATH files leaked. All these Zoom calls leaked. She said herself, this is experimental, what we're doing to these kids. We don't know what's going to happen in the future. We're finding that all of our males to females, when they were put on puberty blockers at Tanner stage 2, which is between, I believe, 11 and 14 or something like that, when they're put on those puberty blockers, they're never exposed to testosterone. So by the time they reach adulthood, they cannot reach the big O, which is important in relationships. It's important in your development. It's important in your reproduction and for your overall mental health and everything too, right? Sex is important in life. When all these children who are male to female are saying, we can't reach that, we can't be satisfied because we were never exposed to this stuff, now we're kind of screwed. They've been turned asexual. And she's admitting it. It's because of their treatments. So now they got to figure out what to do to stop that from happening. She admitted it's experimental. Experimental shit like that, that's eugenics. You're trying to change people's, like, biology. You're trying to change the way that their bodies work and stuff. For what? There's eugenics, there's control of speech, there's control of the media, there's control of how people look at things. If you speak against this, if you question this, you're automatically labeled a bigot, hateful, all these things that you guys have called me, the people in the comments have called me. I'm not the only one experiencing this. I'm in the community. There are millions of people in the community who are not okay with what's going on in the community, and they're speaking out against it. How am I anti-LGBT when I'm the B, and the people calling me that are saying that I'm making it up because I want attention? I'm making it up to use it as a shield. Y'all are being
just
homophobic
because
to
you're
me.
the B. No, just because you're the B does
When you're
not
saying
make
that I'm not
you a
bisexual, that's homophobic.
I said
You're not a gay man.
Yes, okay,
So,
well then,
just because
I would say that to a
let me
lesbian,
say
I'd be
this,
called
please.
homophobic.
Let me say what I gotta say.
It doesn't, same thing. It's the same fucking
So,
thing.
because you're the B, you're not the monolith for the whole thing, right? Just because you feel that way,
I'm not the only one that does. I just
whatever.
said that.
Okay, but do you not think that if you approach things a little bit more differently, so making a video and making those flags into a swastika, that to me, that's rage baiting a point.
To me,
Yes,
that's
yes,
also
it
me
is.
acknowledging that there's something between the lines here, and I'm seeing it.
You don't think
Yeah,
you
but
could have
LB,
made
you
that
didn't address
video
that.
different?
I would
didn't
make it
address
again.
that.
I would
Address
make it
that.
again. I would
You
make it
didn't
again.
address
You didn't
that.
address that in the video. All you said is, "Look at this. Not something I want to be a part
that's
of."
one
You didn't
video.
say,
That
"Here's
video,
why."
I made that video 3 years ago, and that's one video out of hundreds of videos where I literally went into detail explaining why I do not resonate with this flag and the ideology that's being presented under it. And nobody wants to take those videos where I went into detail and took time
but that's
to
not the
find all
videos we
clips
saw.
and the
Do
thing.
you understand?
But that's not my problem.
Well,
because the person
I'm
that
not-
posted that
Well-
went on my Instagram to take it, and that means that they saw all the other videos and they chose
No,
not
it
to
was
post
on your
those.
TikTok. I saw it on your TikTok. I saw it on your story like a week ago.
Listen, the snarky one, the one that Snarky posted, that you guys are all talking about, is from my Instagram. He took that
Yeah, but
from
you
my
also posted
Instagram
on your TikTok
profile.
recently.
So what if I reposted it? Who cares? But it doesn't matter.
But
Dude,
that's
he
my
took
whole
it from my
point, LB, is-
Instagram. This was not being talked about before
Okay,
he
but-
reposted that. I posted it after
I don't think
he
he
posted
took it off your Instagram.
He did.
That's not what Snarky
He did.
does. No,
He did.
I don't
My
believe.
Instagram handle is right there. It's on Insta. You can see it. You can see it's from Instagram. He screen recorded it.
Oh,
So that means that he went that far down to find it from 3 years ago. He scrolled that far down, which means he passed all the videos where I went into detail, showing studies, showing articles, showing the fucking president of WPATH saying it herself. All the things that they're doing under it. He passed by all that shit just to post that. So who's rage baiting?
well, I don't know, LB. It's just the audience that you have, very right leaning, really.
How do you know that?
A lot of the
Have you interacted with all
because it's a
15,000
lot,
people on my
a lot,
Instagram?
a lot of stuff that you post is from right leaning.
What does that mean?
Yeah.
Some
what does that mean?
extreme right leaning
What does that mean?
ideologies, right?
does that mean?
So
I don't
LB,
know what
come
that
on. You're
means.
Candace. You got Candace Owen content. Candace Owens
Candace
content.
Owens
Charlie
is
Kirk.
also speaking up for Palestine. So what does that mean? Is she right? Is she
Well,
extreme
that's
right?
good. That's from the more the merrier.
She's speaking out
But-
against the Israel's corruption,
I don't-
which I am also doing. But I get called anti-Semitic when I do it.
No, you get called anti-Semitic when you're anti-Semitic, which you have been to me.
You've been anti-Semitic as
Bibi
well.
Netanyahu?
You were anti-Semitic all the time. You were laughing when Isaac was like, "I look like a dictator," when he was a pickle and looked like Adolf
Does he
Hitler.
look like a dictator?
Yeah, and then he said the
Like-
problem with the app is all the Jews, and you laughed. If I said that, you'd have called me anti-Semitic and put a hate smear campaign
No,
on
you
me.
can laugh at stuff like that. That's
Apparently
fine.
I can't,
Like,
because
it-
when I make jokes, you fucking
No.
go serious about it.
LB,
pick
when
and
you say
choose
this
when
is
you
what
wanna be
happens when
offended.
we ask Jews questions. No, LB, I'm gonna be straight up front. When you call me, I'm gonna call you Bibi Netanyahu. And when you say things like,
Yeah,
this
'cause
is what
he's
happens
insane
when we
and so
ask
are
Jews
you.
questions. When you, but
You
know
talk
why
about
you
wanting
did
to
it.
keep
Like,
people in your basement. You talk about cutting people up. You talk about kidnapping people
Those are
and
jokes,
going out.
LB.
It doesn't. It's just
Those
a
are
joke.
jokes.
I was a joke too.
okay,
Learn
but
to take a
that's
joke.
anti-Semitism. I'm making
Yours is
fucking jokes
too.
about psychopathy.
Yeah, well,
like,
he's psychotic.
There's a difference.
Does Bibi represent all Jewish people, or is he a dictator
LB, that was your
in
intent.
running Israel?
Like, don't
right now?
just be 100.
No,
That was
Bibi
your intent
Netanyahu
behind it.
is a
And when
piece
you
of
said
shit.
to me, when you asked me questions about the Holocaust and trying to verify numbers, and you didn't like the response I gave you, you said, this is what happens when you ask Jews
Yeah,
questions.
you called me
So
names
yes,
instead of having a
you have-
conversation.
No, LB.
You resorted to
You
insults
want?
instead
I
of
gave
having
you
a
examples of
conversation.
why you've been called anti-Semitic, and if you don't want to own them, that's fine.
So what?
It's
Oh, well.
disingenuous.
If you think I'm anti-Semitic,
Yeah,
then
but
run
see,
with it. I don't
that's-
care. I don't
that's-
care. I'm not
so
against Jewish people
she
as a whole.
can
I'm against the
because
corrupt
she's
Israeli
Jewish.
government.
You're not Jewish.
It doesn't
like,
matter.
Do you get
I don't
that?
give a shit. I
It
don't have to be
does.
Jewish.
It
so,
does.
So I have. So that means that I have to now support
You know,
Bibi Netanyahu and
LB,
his
can we try
insane shit.
something? Can we try something different
Like, you
here
guys aren't
today?
making
Can we
any
try
sense.
something? Let's
Yes,
try something
yes.
very different. Let's try something completely different. Instead of getting our backs up, why don't we just try to figure out a way to move forward?
Well, I want to know why anytime anything about the past is questioned around that community of people, you're automatically shut down and called names and labeled something, but no one can have a conversation. Why is
You
that?
can have a conversation.
Because it's the same thing when it comes to the LGBT issues. You are not allowed to have questions. You get shut down immediately, and you're called names.
Nobody said you can't have questions, LB. It's how
Oh
you
yes,
approach.
you have. You guys have literally said I
It's
shouldn't be asking
how
those things.
you approach.
How should
That's the
okay?
difference.
LB, if you say to a Jew, if a Jew answers a question about the number of Jews that died in the Holocaust, and you're not satisfied with the answer,
You didn't answer
and your
the question.
response to that is to say this is what happens when we ask Jews questions. That's not a genuine conversation.
Okay, well, why
It's
don't you
hateful.
tell the whole truth and stop omitting things, because that's lying by omission. I asked,
What am I
where
lying
did they get
about?
the numbers from? And your response was, oh my fucking God, you're being anti-Semitic. Like, I can't believe you're even asking this. You didn't answer my question. You just labeled me. Why? All I did was ask a question. Sorry for questioning history.
Okay.
I think all of us should.
Okay, are you saying that your then response to that was not anti-Semitic? That
What
we
was my
weren't walking
response?
through a door that I just opened for you?
What was my response?
This is what happens when we ask Jews questions.
How is it anti-Semitic for me to observe that when I asked a question, you resulted to insults and labeling me and not answering the question, and then you
Then why not
acknowledging that you
say
did
that instead of why not say
Because that's
why
what
can't you
happens.
answer the question?
Because that's what happens,
instead of
versus-
saying why? What does me being a Jew have to do with it?
It's not just you.
Okay, but you were asking me. So what does it mean? Like why?
But you
what
choose
does
when
me
to be a
being
Jew and when
have
not to
do
be a
with
Jew,
that?
because you make fucking Holocaust jokes all the time. She does. She makes jokes about the Holocaust all the time here.
That's the problem.
She says she's not a practicing Jew.
She can.
Why? I don't hear any.
Because
I don't hear
she
any
is
Jews
Jewish.
actually
Whether
making jokes
she
about the Holocaust.
practices,
I don't get to separate
Steph,
when I'm
do
a
you
Jew
make
and when
jokes
I'm not.
about the
I'm
Holocaust?
always a Jew. I just don't. I'm not a religious Jew. It's in my fucking bloodline.
That was my point.
Okay?
That's what I was saying.
I'm not a practicing
But the
Jew.
thing,
I'm
those
not
is,
picking and choosing. I'm always a Jew. Every day that I walk through life,
So
I'm a
then
Jew.
why with
whether
certain
you like,
people-
whether you
listen,
like it or not.
I have just for a test, I have literally said some things that you have laughed at that your friends have said, and I've said the exact same thing in the same tone, and you fucking dragged me for it. And I want to know why.
because you're not Jewish.
Neither are her
That's
friends.
why
and she's
you're not
laughing.
Jewish.
Neither are her friends saying those things.
But
Because
LB,
they're
can you
her
understand?
friends.
So
Yeah.
they're allowed to make
They're
anti-Semitic
having the
jokes.
conversation. They're carrying on.
Okay.
That's
okay.
their
I'll
clique,
remember that you
right?
said that. I'll remember that you said that.
LB,
So when
if
my
you and I
trans friends are
if you
making
and I
jokes
are-
about trans stuff and I make jokes too, you can't come at me for that.
if
You're
you're in a
not
space with them,
trans.
But her friends aren't Jewish.
okay, but LB, if you and
Your
I were in a
logic just
space
died
where we were
here.
joking around, no. If you and I were in a space,
Nick, I'm
where
a
we're
woman and I'm
joking around-
bisexual. Sit down, buddy.
If you and I were in a space where we were joking around and getting along, and you were saying it in jest and not to be hateful, I would be fine with that. I'm not fucking ultra sensitive. I'm cool with self-deprecation.
I feel like you also perform outrage with certain people because you don't like them and you want them to get hate towards them.
No,
So with me,
if we're in a space
I've
where
said
you're
things
not
in the
being
exact same- Can
funny
you let
and
me
you're
finish
being
my sentence?
intentionally hateful.
I'm sorry, am I interrupting the beginning of your sentence while I'm in the middle of mine? Or...
Sure, did you get that off Instagram? Go
No,
ahead,
I
LB.
didn't. Anyways, you decide when it's funny and not funny when people make jokes. And like I said to you, I don't think you heard me the first time, so I'll say it again. I've said verbatim the same things that you've laughed at just to test you, to see if you would have a different reaction. In the same tone, I was not mean, I was not hateful, I was not aggressive, I was lighthearted about it, and you fucking lost your mind on me. And I'm not even joking, like 2 days before
My
that, your friends
perception
were
of
saying
it,
the exact
was my
same
perception
things.
of it,
and you were
that the
laughing
same
about
as yours, LB? Was my perception of it the same as yours? Did I believe it to be in jest? Did I believe you were joking around, or did I think you were being intentionally hateful? You need to ask that question.
That's your opinion. You're certainly entitled to it, but you can be wrong sometimes.
But LB,
That's
if
kind
you're
of
saying it
giving.
towards
Well, you know,
me-
there's
That's
a lot
kind
of
of
things that
giving.
you
What
guys
was
say.
she wearing?
No, it wasn't. What the fuck are you
Yeah,
talking
you
about?
don't-
Nice
you don't
try.
hear me-
Stop it.
okay,
Stop.
you
Just
don't
stop.
hear
Stop
me
with the
talking
buzzwords
about
and
that,
stop with that fucking
right?
virtue signaling shit. Have a
Well,
normal adult conversation.
I'm just
with me.
saying. That's what it's giving.
That's not giving. What was it?
I am
wearing?
having it all. That's.
No, how?
It totally
How?
is.
How?
Okay, but LB, if you're making a joke with reference to my ethnicity
You
or
just
my
cherry pick when it's-
or my religion or
yeah.
faith, like No, but can I just make the point?
Sure.
If you're making a joke and I'm not in on the joke, then it's not funny, regardless of your intent.
Okay.
Right?
So when you make a joke,
It's
at my expense and I'm not in on it, and I say, "Hey, that wasn't funny," and you're like, "Oh my God, you're so sensitive."
Precisely.
Okay.
Yes, precisely.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Now
I'll
you're
remember
getting
that.
it.
I'll
Yes.
remember that. Yep. I don't think you realize you just admitted to something, but that's fine.
LB, if I'm making a joke to insult you, I'm going to be clear about that. I don't hide behind things. But if you were
don't?
telling me that
You don't hide behind things?
you're
Can you
making
show your
jokes,
face?
if you're making a joke and you're about me being Jewish and I'm not in on it, I don't realize it's a joke and I think that you're being hateful, then I'm not in on the joke. Do you understand the difference between that and my friends and I making jokes?
This because we've talked about this with you plenty of times. So many people have fucking brought this up to you, and you tell them that they need to learn to get a sense of humor and take a joke and stop being so sensitive. That's what happens when they bring it up to you. Hey, you might have been making a joke and you thought it was funny, but it was at my expense and it was when I wasn't there and I wasn't in on it. So you know what? It's not funny. And you turn around and you shame
But
them for
LB,
feeling that way.
what
But
you're
allowed
claiming
to
is
feel
that
way?
what you're claiming is that you were joking around with me. It was supposed to be lighthearted, and I intentionally took it the wrong way.
I don't know if you
But if I'm not
intentionally did or
aware-
not. You took it however you took it, and that's not my control. That's in your control. But when I reiterate to you, I'm just joking around. It's not serious. And you go, no, you can't joke like that. That's anti-Semitic. You can't make jokes like that. You have no idea that I was literally saying exactly what you were laughing about 2 days prior to that.
Because the intent is different, LB.
But my intent was not malicious, and I told you that. You took it that way because you don't like me. So you're trying to make
What are
me
you
out to be
speaking of?
malicious.
What are you? So this is vague.
You're
What are you
biased.
speaking? Like, be specific.
You're
What
biased.
were you referencing? What situation
I
were
don't
you
fucking remember
referencing?
exactly what it was. It was a while ago. But I remember I was like, okay, I'm going to remember this person said this and she laughed at it. I'm going to test something and see
Okay,
if
well,
I
I
can say the same
can't
thing.
I can't verify what you're speaking about, and for
fine.
all I
You
know,
don't
you
need
could
to
be
verify
making
it.
it up because
fine.
you're
I don't care.
refusing to provide any context whatsoever.
It'll continue to happen. It'll happen again. So when it does, I'll bring it to your attention at that point, okay?
Like,
Is it not malicious
I'll
to
be-
make a joke
Yeah.
just to catch somebody in a lie?
Sorry, Pierre was talking to me. What?
Sorry about that. I just wanted to say that
No,
quickly.
she was,
Go ahead.
you interrupted her though.
No, I said sorry.
he just because he came up, he
Okay.
had that little bit of leg. But this is, you remember back when, and when we had that discussion with Happy, me, Doses Happy, and I think Lou, and you were upset because you weren't allowed to be a part of the conversation, right?
Because you're probably talking about me, right?
find. No, we weren't. We were talking about other things.
We had a live.
And
Let's be specific. We had a live about is it okay to say that you're proud to be white? Is that okay? Is that
Yes.
acceptable?
Oh, because I made a video saying that I was not, like, I'm not hating my own self. I remember I made a video and I was like, yeah, like,
And nobody
essentially
wants you to
like,
hate-
I don't hate myself for being white. I have no reason not to be proud for my skin color, for who I am, for how I was born, for
Nobody's
where I came from.
Nobody's asking you to
No,
be.
I know, but then there was a live posted after,
Where
so I'm
I'm
guessing this was
going,
that live.
Where I'm going with this
It was
is
inspired by
when
my video.
people. Let me get my statement out, please. When people are trying to have conversations with you, it just doesn't feel like you're coming in genuinely. You're always defensive. So it makes it hard to try to have open dialogue with you because you're always on the defense.
I feel like you feel I'm always on the defense because, well, I mean, I can be defensive for sure. I'm defending myself because a lot of things that are being said to me and about me are not true. So am I going to sit here and be like, you know what, even though what you're saying is not true and that's not where I was coming from and that's not my intentions, I'm just going to take it. I'm going to say, you know what, just to be more comfortable for you, I'll just agree with you. I'm not going to do that. If you say something about me or to me that is untrue or has been twisted or maybe you took it a different way than what I meant, I'm going to correct that. And if you take that as being defensive, I'm sorry. Maybe don't make me feel like I have to defend myself, and then we can have a conversation. Ask
You just
questions
admitted
instead
to
of
lying.
making assumptions. That would
You just
probably
admitted
work a
to
lot
lying
better.
to Doses. You just admitted to lying to Doses about a joke that you said that you claimed.
Oh, I didn't lie to
in the
her.
moment was authentic, but you were trying to catch her in
It
a
was an
trap
authentic moment, but I was
by
also
telling a joke that
trying
somebody
to
else
see
said
something.
to see
Yeah,
her
that's
reaction.
how
Sorry,
people
I
kind of
didn't
figure
finish
out how
talking.
people are too, though.
Let Anthony finish. Let Anthony finish.
Yeah.
It can't be both.
It's too much on my head to have people over talking each other. So
Apologies.
I was just trying to say that you just admitted to that. You said, I told a joke that somebody else told to see your reaction, and then I caught you in a lie. And then in the next statement said, it wasn't a malicious joke. That's the definition of being malicious.
So that's not actually the definition of being malicious. The definition of being malicious would be like, my intention is to harm this person. That was not my intention.
Your intent was to catch me in a lie.
You're gonna tell me what my intent was?
The joke.
You're gonna cut me
You
off while
said
I'm
it.
trying to tell you, and you're gonna tell me instead?
Holy fuck.
Can you let me speak for myself? That would be nice. Thanks. So if she had laughed and whatever, I wouldn't have I've been like, okay, whatever, she's consistent. But it's one of those things when you're trying to figure out how somebody is, too. Like, I'm going to be a normal conversation, but if something's off and something's different than it was 2 days ago, I'm going to notice that. I don't know if it's just the way my brain works, dude. Like, I can't
but that's
help it.
what Lisa
I
just
notice
said to you.
inconsistencies.
People
I
don't.
notice when people are not, 2 days prior are acting one way towards people, and then 2 days later acting a different way about the exact same thing towards somebody else because they just don't like that person.
I know, but that's what Lisa said to you. You come across as disingenuous, and people don't believe you because you do things like that. You try and catch them in a lie.
Anthony, have you met you? I'm just wondering. Like, I don't know why you're giving me a moral lecture
But I'm
right
just
now.
telling you what
You're
this is
Lisa
what
was
I
saying.
mean, though, LB.
I'm just telling you what Lisa
This
was
is
saying.
what
to
I
you.
mean.
That's great.
Yeah,
So,
But
and that's
this is what
fine.
I
But
mean,
I also,
right?
do you understand that I am being lectured by somebody who is a antagonizer on here?
LB, come on, man. Like,
it a
stay
lecture?
on topic.
Sorry, is Anthony an antagonizer, or am I mistaken?
Am I
We're all
antagonizing?
antagonizers
What about
to an
isms?
So why am I
What
getting
about-
lectured
what
about
about-
motives by somebody who Anthony comes in all the time
Because you
and has
gave
ulterior
your motive.
motives?
You said you can't. Two things can't be true in this instance. It cannot be true that you made a joke to be funny and to laugh, ha ha, but also at the same time did it to try to entrap me. They
I would
can't be true.
entrap
Those
you?
both
Entrap you
things
in
are
what?
not.
What was I entrapping you
You were
in?
trying to.
Oh,
You're
it's
saying.
a shame. It's a shame moment.
So, Argdosis, are you telling me that you don't, when you're talking to people, you're not also observing how their behaviors are and their consistencies and all that stuff, and then
Yes,
finding out
of
that
course,
maybe
but in this
things
instance,
here,
you're saying.
like, I don't
Of course,
understand what
yes,
you're getting
LB,
upset
of course.
about. I just
Of
don't
course.
understand.
I'm not
You're just not
upset. I'm just
listening.
saying
You sound
you're
it.
not listening. You're saying you're saying how come I can't make those jokes with you? You're not consistent. It's only funny when X, Y, or Z does it, but it's not funny when I do it. I was doing it as a joke, but I was also doing it to try to trap you because I knew that you were being inconsistent. So
Trap you?
which one is it?
Trap you?
Oh my God.
Trap you with what? Like,
You're
did I
getting stuck on a
did I
word.
call you
You're
out in
getting
that
stuck
moment?
on a word.
Did I call you out in that moment?
That's
to be like,
not
oh,
the
that's
point. That's
interesting.
what you said. I'm just going on what you said, LB.
No, I'm telling you, like, where my mind was at in that time. And it was like, oh, these jokes are coming
well,
up again. I'm going
it
to make a
can't
joke
be-
too. And then I remembered, like, I was making a joke and then you dragged me and I'm like, wait a minute, 2 days ago she was fucking, okay. Like, it's a test. Yeah, you're like,
But
that's how
you
you get to know
just changed
people.
your words, though.
test
You just
people.
changed your words, though.
I don't care.
You didn't say that was why you did. You said
Whatever.
you did it for a
Yes,
different reason
I was
earlier.
making jokes, yes, but I was also seeing if you were being consistent.
You can't
And
be
you
both.
weren't.
You can't.
And you seem more
You can't
mad
be
at
both. You
me
can't come
observing
from a
that
place
than you
of
not
tr-
being consistent.
And
you
that
can observe whatever
justifies
you
the
want.
response.
Well, clearly I'm not allowed to do that because apparently that makes me a malicious person.
Yeah,
be
but
a
you-
normal
Your intent
human
was
being
malicious.
observing
That's the
human
whole
behavior.
point I'm making, is that your intent was malicious. That is all I'm trying
My
to say.
intent was
Is
malicious
you were not,
because I
in
was
fact, trying to
observing
joke
human behavior?
around. You were not, in fact, no, because you earlier said, roll the fucking tape,
I cause
that
you
you
harm?
did it to try to test me. You did a Bry Guy test.
Did I
of
cause you
friendship,
harm?
essentially, of a Bry Guy, right.
Did I cause
No,
you harm?
LB, come
Did I
on,
cause
man.
was
Like
it
I
you?
said,
levels of
I'm
maliciousness.
trying to have.
I just
I'm
want to
trying
know
have
where
a
the malicious
conversation
part
with you.
came in.
Well, see, this is where the disingenuous shit comes in.
No,
LB.
I'm actually asking
You're-
you
you're
questions and you
being
can't
very
answer them, so you call me
disingenuous.
disingenuous. I'm not disingenuous
But
by asking
that's
questions. I'm asking clarifying questions. That's not disingenuous. That's me trying to actually figure out a little bit more of where your mind
Yeah,
is at.
it's malicious
And
because
how
in
you
this
came
moment
to
you're
this
throwing it in your
conclusion.
face.
And I'm wondering where the
It's
malicious
because
part
you're using
is.
it as a weapon.
Well, then all of you,
That's the
every
malicious
single
part.
human being in this fucking, on this planet, who interacts with other human beings and observes human behavior
my
to
God.
try to figure
You're
out what's
right.
going on with people.
Everybody's
Everybody's malicious, I guess.
You're right. So what?
Stop
But
noticing,
right
everyone.
No.
Stop noticing.
now we're
It's
talking
malicious.
about you.
Stop noticing.
No, but right
harmful.
now.
All right.
Don't notice.
LB, I don't know what to. I don't
That's
know
what
what
you guys
to
are
how to
basically
go
telling me to
forward
do.
with
Stop
you here. Like
noticing your
I would like to
inconsistencies.
have some sort of I would like to have some sort of resolution with you because I feel like we're just
Yeah,
bashing
you're
our
gonna have to
heads
own up
against
to
the
your
wall
part
here.
of
Like
things
you're
as well. Then you can't have you can't find resolution with people by just making one person try to fucking submit to your shit.
What do you need from me? What do you need from me?
I need
move
you to
forward,
be a
LB?
woman and an adult, and I need you to fucking own up to your shit. I need you to stop
What
lecturing. Listen,
specifically do you need me to own?
I need you to stop lecturing.
Like you just.
Okay, you know what?
Like you
Talk.
just owned up to your shit? Like you just owned up to your shit
No,
3
it's cool.
seconds
Ask
ago?
me questions and then cut me off when I go to answers. Fine, talk.
Sorry.
I don't know, LB. I just don't think you really want to have conversations and are willing to listen to people when they try to explain where they're coming from
I feel
on
the same
certain
way.
topics and certain things.
I feel the same about you. I feel
That's
the same
all.
about doses. I feel the same about you guys.
Okay, but LB, like
So that's something we can all agree on.
if you want to continue, like I'm fine with if you want to say, you know what, I want to just keep arguing with you and throwing shit at the wall. And I'm like, cool. At least I know where we stand. But like, I don't know what you want from me to be able to move forward. I don't know. Like you're
I
saying,
need
oh,
you
you
to
need to own your
stop
shit and do this. Like,
Trying to control how other people view people who you're having a conversation with. So you and I are not agreeing on
no, it
something.
has to be about you and I. It has to be about
Can
you
let
and
me,
I.
Can you let me talk?
Okay.
Okay, so when you and I are having a conversation, and I'm trying to explain to you where I was coming from, my intentions, what I was feeling, where my mind was at, and you interrupt me to try to tell me and speak for me instead, and try to control that narrative of how people view that, I need you to stop doing, because it's not helpful to get to resolution when you are trying to interrupt somebody who's speaking for themselves, and you try to speak for them, and try to like put in people's heads something that's not true, and then now they have to defend themselves on top of already trying to finish explaining things. So you make it more complicated for people. You need to stop doing
Can you give
that.
me an example of how I've done that today so I can take a look at that?
Well, I was in the middle of saying what my intentions were behind, joking around with you and shit, and you cut me off to tell me what my intentions were and to tell everybody else what my intentions were. And then I was like, can you please let me speak for myself? And you got upset about that, and then you let me do that. But like, that's an example. Like,
Okay, so me
I'm trying to
interrupting
tell
you is
you I
your
wasn't being
problem?
malicious. I was just observing human behavior. I was seeing if there was consistency across the board, and there wasn't. And because I noticed that, you called me malicious. That doesn't make any sense. And then I tried to tell you what my intentions were, and you tried to reroute that and try to put a different narrative up. You do that a lot, Joseph. It's a problem with you, and I think you need to work on that. I have things to work on,
Okay.
sure, but you have a lot of things you need to work on as well. So do you, Pierre, so do you, Anthony, so do people in the chat. Everybody needs things they need to work on.
Hey, I'm not saying I'm perfect.
But
I
the
have
thing
never,
is people
ever,
don't really
ever
lecture you guys
said
about
I
what
was
you need
perfect.
to work on because you guys don't listen to that.
Bro,
you don't
I
let it
get
happen.
lectured up and down
How do you
this
not know
fucking
that?
app all
Because
day
I've listened to you
long,
on this
all day
fucking
long,
app for
okay?
years.
All
hi-
day long.
I
I
get
have
here,
all
you
the
go
Go into
lives
Matt
and-
Ben's live, Pierre. You and Kim will go into Matt Ben's live, hijack it, and then try to control exactly how he runs his live. And I don't think that's productive. Go in your own live.
I haven't been in Matt Ben's live
In a week?
no, probably almost close to 2 months.
I don't think that's true.
I popped in the one day that after I was blocked on a backup account and asked him to unblock. But other than that, I haven't been in this space. He comes
But
into
either way,
mine.
though, that was a problem. Like, you didn't like it if someone came into your live instead of telling you how to run your live.
I
and
will
what to say
always stand for human rights.
Me too.
So when he's doing something that is
But our definition of that is
racist,
different. Our definition
or-
of human
well,
rights
yeah.
is different, it seems like. Because I stand up for human rights as well,
Apparently.
and I get called names by you and your friends. And
you don't stand up for human rights.
How don't
LB,
I?
when you're willing to say that trans rights are not right,
I've never said
that
that.
is not
I've
standing
never
up
once
for
ever
human
said
rights.
that. What are trans rights is what I've asked. What rights don't trans people have is what I've asked.
They have a right to exist, and
Of
they
course
have the
they do.
right to be who they want to be.
Of course they do.
Yeah,
They
but
do
that
not
also
have the
means-
right to they do not have the right
that also
to
means-
infringe on other people's rights in order for them to exist. Just like us. We do not have the
So
right to
you're,
infringe on other
so
people's
you
rights.
can
just to
do
exist.
it. You have the right to infringe your rights
Which
on
rights
them,
am I infringing
but they're not
on?
allowed
Can
to.
you please- Okay, you're saying all these things, but you're not telling me what rights. What rights am I denying of trans people, and what rights am I infringing on of trans people?
Well, using the bathroom, you don't want trans women in the women's bathroom. Where do they fucking go to the
Can you
bathroom?
tell
LB?
me they can go in the men's room or they can go in the unisex room?
How
the
do you
family
think? Do you
room?
think
What,
that that's?
beat up?
Do you think that's
So
safe?
they
No,
get
Do you
beat
think that's
up?
safe?
No,
Do you think
there's so many videos of trans women going in the men's washroom, and they're like, "Oh, because the men are like, oh, are you in the right washroom?" And they're like, "Oh, I'm trans." I'm like, "Oh, okay, no problem." They don't care. They're actually
Do you
happy
think
they're
it's
in there
safe for
instead of in the
trans
women's
women to
washroom.
be in a men's
I have
space,
plenty of
especially in
trans
like
women friends, and they all use
somewhere
the
like
men's washroom.
fucking Texas? Like,
Pardon?
do you think that's safe? I
I
don't
didn't
think
hear
it's
what you
safe.
said because I was talking.
But that's the difference
women
between
going in-
human rights. That's the difference between my human rights and your human rights. And I'm gonna stand for my human rights every day.
I stand for human
All
rights
day,
as well,
every
but you
day.
didn't answer my question. What rights am I denying of trans people?
By you saying they're female, that is wrong.
Trans women are female.
If a trans man
Or
wants
sorry,
to be
trans men
known
are
as a
female.
trans man,
Trans men are female. That's what makes them trans. Female is
okay.
biological.
Anyway,
Biological is different.
You can
Sex and
still
gender are
respect
different.
people's pronouns, LB, though. Like,
I respect pronouns
You
of
can
people
still-
who are respectful of others. If they don't shove it down my throat and say, you need to say this or else, then I'll respect their pronouns. But if they're gonna fucking tell me what I need to say and what not to say and all that, fuck that shit. You don't have power over me that way just because you feel a certain way. You don't get to tell other people how they can
it's
speak.
not about power,
But
though. It's not about
people
that.
have their own beliefs. Are you gonna go up to a fucking someone who's like a hardcore Muslim and tell them they need to respect your pronouns? No, because you understand that their culture is not going to accept that, and they're not going to abide by it. So you don't do it because you know you'd be infringing
Yeah, but
on their
LB,
religious
my
beliefs and their
my
own rights.
personal beliefs, and I've shared this publicly, and people can be uncomfortable. My personal beliefs are trans women are trans women, and women are women.
I agree.
But if a trans woman is in my space, I will address her as her or they, them, whatever her pronouns are, and I will treat her like a woman. I will never fucking make her feel less than.
And that's your choice. I have trans women friends who I refer to them as the names they go by, their pronouns they prefer because they're respectful. They're not forcing me. If I call them he, him, and call them by their other name, they're not going to be like,
what do you
"Oh,
mean
fuck, just
force?
hold on.
Like,
No, but it feels that way.
if
you
they
feel-
correct
listen,
you,
gotta
if
let me
if
answer.
you're in a room, okay, say you're in a room with my kid, they go by they, them.
I do not personally
And you
believe in
look at
non-binary as
them
an
and
identity.
say,
I have a right to my beliefs.
who are you to say that?
Who are you to tell me that I can't believe my own values and stick with my own values? Why are your rights more
Yeah, but
important
you don't
than
have
mine?
to preach them though, like as if it's.
What do you need
That's-
validation? Why do they need validation from other people,
Yeah,
especially
but
strangers,
why do
if
you
they're
have to
secure
prove
with
your
who they
beliefs
are?
as
Because
though
it's who
there's
they
something wrong?
are.
Then be who
It's
you
their
are.
Human right.
Do you understand that by most of the people who are LGBT who are against what I say, they call me a creature, they call me he, they say I look like a man. They literally are doing exactly the things they say that I'm doing to people, but I'm not doing that to people. They're doing that to me. They say I'm not bi. They
You
say I look like a man.
dehumanize people, LB. You
How?
dehumanize people.
I'm literally telling
But
you
it's
how
the-
I'm
it's-
being dehumanized, and you turn around and say that I dehumanize people. How have I done that? What have I
That's
said?
my perception. I'm not saying that what you're saying about what happens to you isn't
You
also
didn't even acknowledge
fact.
it. You didn't care. So this
If
is
people
what I'm
are
talking about.
saying things like that to
Consistency
you,
is
then
key.
obviously the same thing is happening to you.
If you're not consistent
But I'm
across
saying-
the board, you can't lecture me on this. Because you don't care that these
I'm
things are happening to
literally-
me. You've taken part in a lot of that, doses, and you don't care. But you want to tell me what I should believe and what my values should be because I need to make other people comfortable who don't give a shit about what happens to me. They just want me to concede to what their beliefs and their values are.
No, actually,
Obviously,
I
two
don't.
wrongs
You
don't
don't
make a
have to
right.
concede.
Okay,
You don't have to
but you don't need to
concede.
shame me for not
But you
conceding.
don't.
It's not
you
hateful
don't-
for me not to
You
for me
don't
to not concede.
have to. Anyway, it's
My
This
perception,
is what I mean. It's
LB, is that your content is dehumanizing of a group of people that you have a problem with.
And I'm asking
and
you
and
how.
I listen. I'm not a big fan of religion, organized religion in general.
I'm not
But I
either.
don't go around making videos and saying hateful shit. Like
what?
I have some close friends that are Christian and Muslim and all different. My mother is ultra religious, but like I don't have to express
Like,
that I
what
don't
have I
like
said
religion
that
on a
is
daily
making you feel
basis.
this way? What have I said? You won't tell
When
me
you
what I've said.
posted
You
that-
just label it, but you don't actually go into
You're not
detail.
letting me speak. Now, you just said that I need to change my behavior by not interrupting
Okay,
when
I'm
you
sorry,
were trying to
sorry,
explain
go ahead.
yourself, and I just tried to do the same thing. When you posted that video with the flag, making it into a hate symbol, I found that to be very distasteful, and I found it to be openly hateful. That's what I found from that, and that's an example of that for
And I
me.
find that
and
flag
I
to be
think
those
it's
things.
fine. I respect that you have your beliefs, but it's the way that you come across. It feels like you're trying to dehumanize a certain group of people that you disagree with, and it feels like sometimes you attack that group of people, and that is my perception of it. So
What group
that
of
for
people?
when trans people specifically.
Trans people specifically. So by that flag is
Yes.
the trans flag now.
No,
Okay,
I'm
so
not
how
saying
does that?
that.
How does
You're
that
asking
video? How does that correlate with trans people?
because they're under that umbrella, and most of your content is directed at trans people.
Most of my content actually isn't really trans related. A lot of it is just things going on in the world or in this algorithm or just like my life. You come to my profile every day, so you should know this.
Yes, LB, and that's my perception of your
Okay,
content.
but
I'm just
you
saying if you'd
haven't
like
really
people to have a
quoted-
different.
You've brought up one video that I posted 3 years ago that Snarky reposted recently. So
You
like,
also
what are you talking
reposted
about?
it.
Yeah, I posted it after
You
him
also
because I was like, oh, that's
reposted it.
actually a good video, so I'm gonna repost it, and I did. So,
But you make your
make
but
a
you're
lot
saying
of
all my
rhetoric
content. So what
your
other videos?
identity.
Can you tell me what other
You
videos?
make this your identity. You make this your identity.
Yeah.
Make what my identity?
Your
Protecting
rhetoric,
women's
right?
rights
Rhetoric
for the
towards
trans-
trans.
Your apparent distaste for the trans community has become your identity.
I'm not against the trans community. I'm against the
I
people,
feel that you are.
and you're
My
entitled to have
perception
those
of
feelings,
you
but I
is
don't
that
agree
you
with them.
that you have some deep-rooted issues with trans individuals. I don't know why. That's
So-
just my perception of you based
What
on
about
your
my
content.
trans friends who are a lot more extreme about this than I've ever been? I actually disagree with a lot of my trans
don't-
friends who go harsher about things.
I can only speak for my relationship and my interaction with you. I can't speak for anyone
Yeah,
else that I
I've
don't
never
know.
seen them,
Bring on
so-
my friend Laura, who is from the States, was in the military. She transitioned while she was in the military, actually, and she has a lot to say. I think she would have a good conversation with you guys. Her and Buck Angel have sat down and had a discussion. You can actually watch her on his channel. And she is an incredible trans woman. She is so strong. She speaks up against the things that are happening to children in the community. She also speaks up for women's rights. She also speaks
Yeah,
up
but
for
she's
men's
not
mental
a
health.
she's not a monolith though. She's not
She's
a
not,
monolith.
but neither is
Just-
anybody else on here. So anyone
well,
can have their
we
opinions.
have a lot more people.
You're not a monolith.
that
You're
are
an ally.
for
And you're not a very
then-
good one. I'm sorry, but you're causing
Whoa,
more harm. I'm not
really?
trying to be rude, but you
Really?
do cause,
Really?
your rhetoric causes more harm.
Really?
Yes. Your
Why
rhetoric
is she
causes
not a
harm.
good ally? Why is she not a good ally, LB?
Because her rhetoric is causing harm. She's speaking to somebody in the community
Specifically
right
what?
Listen, can you let me finish speaking? She's
Sure.
speaking to somebody right now who's in the community, who's speaking up against things happening in the community. She's an ally telling me that I'm wrong and that I shouldn't speak about these things and that I'm hateful and all this stuff. And I'm telling her, as someone in the community, that her rhetoric is actually more harmful by trying to silence people in the community speaking up against harmful things happening. And I'm not the only one doing it. There's plenty of trans people speaking up against things. There's plenty of detransitioners. There's plenty of doctors. There's plenty of people that work in those industries, people who worked in gender clinics. They're speaking out. People who are lesbian, gay, bi,
You're not
straight.
trans, LB. You're not trans.